And welcome back. This is the week of Thanksgiving, so there's very little going on in the courtroom. I've told you before we were in court 24 out of 26 weeks, and this is one of those weeks that we are not in court. But we do have, we had pleas and motions last week, so we have one of significance to people that live here in Conway. Jaheim Herring, 23 of Loris, pled guilty on an armed robbery charge and received 11 years in prison. That was a case that Blaine Massey handled for us in the solicitor's office, and Judge Dukes, a visiting judge, come in and sentenced. On these charges, of course, we always talk about non-parolable and parolable type offenses. It's technically categorized as a non-parole offense, which means it is parolable after 85%. So Mr. Herring will have to serve somewhere around 9.5, 10 years before he comes up for parole. And that was for an armed robbery in Conway that he pled to. In other news, and on to this week, we are, we had a staff meeting yesterday, and that is where all of the attorneys, we've got about 35 in Horry and Georgetown County, we get together and we talk about what is going on and what we're expecting for the remainder of this year and the beginning of next year. So in that, what we found out is that this year we had tried 30 cases just in Horry. 14 of those were DUIs, and that doesn't count bench trials. And then 16 of those were general sessions. So you have a lot more court time in general sessions, but in general sessions, that means felony warrants. There were, of those 16 trials, 9 of them were murder. There was a rape case that was tried in there. There was drug trafficking, burglary. I don't remember all of them, but I know over half of them were murders, and that's because you're still limited in trial times. We get approximately 24 weeks a year to try, 26 weeks a year to try cases. And being able to get through 9 murders in 26 weeks is pretty good. We can do better, and I've told them we're going to do better. But even on those weeks that we didn't actually go to trial, what happens is, we've discussed it, but a person comes in and they say, I want a trial, I want a trial, I want a trial. Okay, today, Monday, is your trial. There's the 12 jurors that you got. Let's go. I want a plea. And when that happens, that person gets a significant sentence, a bigger sentence. But also, everybody under them, we would have moved a massive amount of pleas that were on the trial roster, because that's the only thing in town. The judge is sitting there ready, and we go on to number 2. That guy wants to plead. Number 3. And when you get to number 17 or 18, those are cases that have bounced around for 2 or 3 years waiting. Maybe it was breaking into an automobile, or serious to the victim, but in the grand scheme of things, not up there with murder or rape or kidnapping. So all of those end up pleading also. Probably at least 80% of everything on the trial roster, when the first case drops through, will end up pleading. Unless, like we talked about last week, the judge continues a case. That's by far the second category. Most of them goes forward. If there's a continuance, it bumps around for a lot longer. But there is good news, even when your first up case ends up pleading guilty. And we've told them once they get on the trial roster, we don't make plea deals. At that point, it is all or nothing. We're going to lose. We've already inconvenienced the victims. We've already inconvenienced police officers from Columbia, police officers locally, bringing in people from out of state. We're ready to go. So that's why we fight so hard to do that. There's never a good time for a defendant to come to court, more especially around Christmas. I don't want to plea. I don't want a trial. There's no other choices. You know, you got to either plead guilty or you got to go to trial and have us prove you guilty. But either way, we're here. So 30 cases in a year is not bad. I really want to outdo that next year. I think that we could easily get up to 22, or probably will never get it to 26 cases, because that is asking for perfection. But if we could get it to 22 or 23, that would be great. And then we could do more even in the DUIs, but 14 DUI trials, not counting the bench trials. So what I was talking about there is, what happens is you go to court and you don't have 12 jurors for magistrate's court, you have 6. But the defendant may very well say, I don't need jurors, I'd rather have a judge to hear my case. And that happens. If you counted those, there would probably be 10 more bench trials over the course of the year. So approximately 24 DUI trials, and then a bunch of pleas where the person gets ready for trial and then ends up pleading guilty. So a lot of hard work goes into it, but it is producing some really good results. And the only other bit of news that I'll follow up with you is, last week we hired we moved someone from the Georgetown office to the Georgetown jail, so that we will be represented now from the first time that a person is arrested in Georgetown. We've been doing it in Horry at least 5 years, and it has worked out. So we asked for and received a grant in Georgetown, and that freed up an attorney to go out to the jail, and then we will put the grant prosecutor in DUIs in Georgetown. So a lot of good stuff's happening at the end of the year, but the main thing that you need to do is enjoy family, enjoy turkey, and rest and relax, and take an opportunity to think about and give thanks for all of the blessings. We live in one of the, in my opinion, the best place in the state, in the best state in the country. So we've got great neighbors, we've got great food, we've got great family, and that is something that is not apparent everywhere. So we can change a lot just by recognizing how good we got it, and that's what Thanksgiving's all about. Have a safe and happy holiday season, and we'll get back with you next week.